So we can use this in idioms and verb phrases. Okay. But had, on the other hand, is the past of the transitive verb has. Okay. Had is like is a past form of the transitive verb has. So it is also used for third person singular in the past tense. Okay. But in past participle form, it will become have. Do you understand what I'm saying? Or is it too complicated? Guys? Guys, did you understand what I said? Okay, so basically, I can say she has a cat, he has a nice car, but if I have to put two actions, like he had a dog, but it died. Okay, so in participle forms, we use had. Shivaram Pavani, Shivaram Pavan, what is your question? So do we use sometimes had I have done something like that? No, no. That is again called a subjunctive mood. Okay, that goes into another whole different part of the grammar, which is called subjunctives. Okay, those are moods. Sir, are just happened situations means before half an hour are to be expressed in. So see, there is no particular time limit, Krishna Manoj. It's if you've started it like now, and it's ended like just a little while later. But you want to also tell about the action that happened, not only either the start or end. Then you will be giving a situation like that, you will be expressing in perfect tense, in present perfect tense. Gayatri Bhatta, sir, in general case, no one is using perfect grammar to talk. In interviews, interviewer will focus on grammar or what we have spoken. So this is a complicated question to answer when you've decided that no one is using the right grammar to talk. Uh, but so look, I'll be blunt with you. If the interviewer knows how to speak in English, he will understand that what you're speaking is wrong. Somehow or the other, it's kind of wrong. Okay. So though he won't discredit you too much for it because everyone, according to you, everyone is speaking wrong English, he might not be really, impressed by you. So once again, what's the difference between perfect and perfect continuous? Okay, see, an action started sometime before, it went on for some time and it ended. And you are telling me about the end of the action. Okay, that is perfect tense. If the action started sometime before, it went on for some time and it ended, and you are trying to also tell me the time duration or what has happened in that going on, what has happened in when that was going on. That is perfect continuous. Lenka Divya, I am not able to understand anything that you have typed in that. Uh, Anyways, so can you please tell where to use will and shall in future tense? Again, it's the same as you are talking about has and have. One goes into the participle form, but very simply speaking, think about it this way: wherever you're not extremely sure of putting a will, you can use a shall. Okay, in a very blunt way, I'll tell that to you. So, can we express present perfect as simple past? Well, if you're talking about only the action that happened and not the duration, not the start, not the end, then yes, present perfect will change into simple past. Wow, guys, you have a lot of doubts. Nice. Hmm. Okay, so this part is not clear, has and had. So let us just think about it this way. Whenever you are using perfect tenses, you use had. Okay. In a very blunt manner. Again, this is not true for all cases, it's only true for 90% of the cases. But since the extent of grammar that you have learned is not that much, you just think that whenever you're using perfect tenses, okay, you're using had. And when you're using like past tense, you're using has. Okay. Yeah, Sai, don't worry. Even if you missed yesterday's class, you can definitely understand today's class without any knowledge. Okay, because yesterday I taught verbs and adverbs, and today I'm going to start with prepositions. So, guys, please look at this slide. Now, do you guys know what are prepositions? Do people have an idea of what prepositions are? Anjali, that is a part of my class. That's one of the last slides of my class. I'll be teaching you that topic too. Okay. All right. So yeah, when I'm saying the book is on the table, right? So this word on is telling me about the relationship of the book and the table with respect to a location, correct? Yes. So basically, the words that tell us any relation between subject and object with respect to location are known as prepositions. Okay. For example, here see the book is beneath the table. So beneath becomes a preposition. The book is leaning against the table. This becomes a prepositional phrase. The book is beside the table. She held the book over the table. Okay. So in all of these are called as prepositions. Now, one thing that you should always note is that a noun or a pronoun always follows the preposition. Why? Because that noun is nothing but the object of that sentence. Now, let us say I have three books, okay? A, B, C, which are arranged like this. Only B is beneath A, but C is also under A. Manisha, did you understand? Okay. When to use on and over. Again, the same thing. You know, A is over C, but only A is on B. Tarun, am I clear with that? Okay. Now, a preposition usually indicates the temporal, spatial, or logical relation. Okay. Now, what do I mean by temporal? Temporal is time. Spatial is space. That means location. Logical is logically where are we placing the objects also. Okay. Now, this part is very, very important. Make a careful note of this part because 90% of times your examiners will try to confuse you with this only. Okay. A prepositional phrase is a. What happened? Again, the screen's gone. You guys are able to see my screen now? Okay. Anyways, a prepositional phrase is a phrase which is giving you any kind of a relation between two or more words. Okay. That's expressing a location. Okay, yeah, somehow for me, my screen was gone. I think some problem is coming with Zoom for me. Okay, anyways, for example, under the wall, at home, these are not one words, no? See, if I'm saying at, it's one word, but at home is not one word, no? So where do you keep the bike? I kept the bike near the beautifully crafted furniture. So this entire part is giving me one location, no? So this entire thing is doing the job of a preposition, right? But again, this is not one word. Correct? So this is going to become a prepositional phrase. Now, why is it important for you to understand which is a preposition and which is a prepositional phrase? Because in your CRT class, 90% of things that I teach are directly related to your CRT exams. In your CRT exams, when you are putting a prepositional phrase in your answer, there's high chances that they'll be marking it wrong. Okay, until and unless you find no other preposition to suit that part, don't put a prepositional phrase. Okay, see, first you should always try to use a preposition only. Okay, but if you are not able to get any answer with a preposition, then you can use a prepositional phrase. Okay, now I'm giving you 2 minutes. You can ask me any doubts you have about prepositions. Wait, Mahati, you asked me a doubt. I'm sorry, I did not check that message. So when should we use among and between in the sentences? Uh, so between you and me, let me clarify the question about which is the best book in the universe. Among all the books in this universe, I would like to read the Robin Cook's Chromosome 6. I hope that solves the issue. So between Harry Potter, okay, whatever. So between is about, two things, comparison between two things. Anusha, I already explained over and above, Nanna. Chudu, if I have three books like this, I have A, then B, then C. Okay, A is over C. Sorry, A is above C. But only B is under A, so A is over B. So if you have a cat, it is on a table. Okay, you will say the cat is on the table. Okay, why? Because it is on it. But if I'm saying that there is a pen in my hand and my hand is hovering somewhere above the table, I will say over the table. Now, Anusha. Okay, any more doubts? All right. So next part of speech is I'm angry with him for his carelessness. Gayatri, it will be for his carelessness. In the options that you've given me, the best option is for. But ideally, I would have said I'm angry about him being careless. Reason because both are wrong. First of all, you cannot be angry with some quality. You can be angry with some person. Who displays the quality? For and since, I still don't understand how these two come into the topic of conjunctions, but okay, or prepositions, but okay. So Lalita, this is how it goes. I have been teaching for 3 years now. Okay, because I'm showing you a time period. But I've been teaching since 2017. That means I'm telling you about the starting time. Raymond's since 1947. That means Raymond's has been operational for almost 70 years now. Lalita, clear? Tarun, when to use across? Across opposite nana. Opposite ga unte, diagonal ga unte. Okay, she is standing across the room from me. Sir, before them is among or between, which is correct? Hey, Ardhan College, Pratyusha, type the full sentence and tell me, no? Before them, among is among or between, which ones? I didn't understand that. Pavani, in the example of the prepositional phrase beautifully crafted is not an adjective. See, wait, let me go back to that thing. So over here, if you look, I will tell you again. Can I say furniture is a noun? Yes. What type of furniture? crafted furniture. How was that furniture crafted? Beautifully. So crafted is an adjective. Beautifully becomes an adverb. Okay. Yes. Yes. Shekhar, you're right. Now, Pratyush, you are asking, I mean, between them. Is that right or not? But you said between is compared within two. Yeah, between and in between are different, Nana. Okay, for example, did I not teach you guys what is that chapter called? Linear arrangements in logical reasoning? Ma, this totally, Pavani, this totally is called prepositional phrase. Phrase is a group of words that don't completely give any sense. Okay, phrase is a group of words that don't give complete sense. That is why this is phrase. So when I'm saying near the beautifully carved furniture, what do you understand by this? What is there near the beautifully carved furniture? You don't understand, no. That is why it's a phrase. Now, in a phrase also, we can have nouns and all the parts of speech, no, Nana? Okay, so some of you have been to my class on linear arrangements, the others haven't. So wait, I'll explain you with a small example. Let me say that A, B, C, D are like this. Okay, now I can say C is in between B and D. Okay, but I should only say C is between A and D. No, crafted can't be a verb over here. Crafted is an adjective over here. ఇప్పుడు క్రాఫ్టెడ్ అంటే అందులో నీకు ఏం యాక్షన్ కనిపిస్తుంది అంజలి? ఏం లేదు కదా యాక్షన్. కానీ ఎలాంటి ఫర్నిచర్ అది చెప్తోంది కదా. ఫర్నిచర్ అంటున్నాం కదా నాన్న, దాని గురించి మనం ఏది చెప్పినా అదేమో మనకి అడ్జెక్టివ్ అయిపోతుంది. సరేనా? అట్లా కాకుండా ఏదైనా యాక్షన్ ఏదైనా ఉంటే అప్పుడు అది మనం వర్బ్ అనుకోవచ్చు. సో నౌ డు యు అండర్స్టాండ్ డిఫరెన్స్ between in between and between? Yeah. Okay, fine. So finally, let's go to conjunctions. A conjunction is a word that join. Yeah, beautiful is also an adjective, Nana. Okay, so a conjunction is a word that joins words or sentences together. Okay, so and, but, for, or, yet, so, all of these are conjunctions. Now, there are some conjunctions that are used alone. In isolation అంటే మనం కరోనా వైరస్ లోని ఆ టైంలో ఒక్కటైనా కాదు, సరేనా? ఒక్కటే ఈ ఒక్క పాటే యూజ్ చేస్తామని. ఓకే, సో ఎగ్జాంపుల్ దో, however, nevertheless, all of these. But some are always used in pairs, like either or, neither nor, not only but also. These are always in pairs. Okay, now there are names for these. First one is coordinating conjunctions. Okay, coordinating conjunctions will be linking similar word groups. Okay, they'll be linking similar words or word groups. Okay, now you can use this mnemonic to remember it. The mnemonic is known as fanboys. Okay, and what do fanboys stand for? For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Okay, so these are 7 words that are always going to be coordinate conjunctions. Varun asks, Brady, give me an example sentence with nevertheless. Varun, you asked a silly question. Nevertheless, here's my answer to you. Cool, Varun? That's an example sentence. Happy? Thanks. Okay. Next, we have something called as correlative conjunctions also. Okay. Now, if I'm asking you about correlative conjunctions, here the important part is these are also going to link similar word groups only, but they are used in pairs. Okay. Now, these are 5 correlative conjunctions that are very widely used. But unfortunately, these days the authors have been, using various other correlative conjunctions also. As in, they are making normal phrases into conjunctions and they are using them. Okay, that grammatically might not be correct, but since the language is evolving, the grammar is also evolving with the language. Okay, so these 5 are the most predominantly used correlated conjunctions. Now, there's a third type of conjunctions also, which we call as subordinating conjunctions. But usually, I do not give this topic for CRT classes for one very simple reason. You might not use this ever in your CRT exams. Okay? But I've decided, since a lot of you guys are interested in grammar and you guys are asking me good questions, I thought, yeah, why not? Let me just put this in the slide as well. Okay, so look, subordinating conjunctions link an independent clause. Where is it? Yeah, an independent clause to a dependent clause. Okay, for example, after she had learned to drive. Now, see, when I say after she had learned to drive, Alice felt more independent. Now, this is a clause that I can use alone, no? For example, till this part, if I say that there's no sentence, only this part is a sentence. This arrow part is a sentence. Can I say that this part alone can be one sentence? Alice felt more independent. That's explaining itself. But if I say that this part is one sentence now, after she had learned how to drive, that does not make any sense, no? After she learned how to drive, what? Or why did she learn to drive? I should give some reason, no? So this word after is somehow connecting Alice felt more independent to she had learned to drive. So that is also becoming a conjunction. And these are known as subordinating conjunctions. I'll call you as soon as I reach office. Now see, I'll call you is one dependent or independent? Independent clause. When will he call? When he reaches the office. So this part, as soon as, is joining this clause with this clause, right? So this is acting as a conjunction. Am I clear? Boys, girls, are conjunctions clear? Do you have any doubts in conjunctions? No? Clear? Okay, cool, fine. The next part, in the last part, sir, your screen has disappeared again. Hey, for me, my screen is coming. Guys, is my screen here? I mean, my screen is here, but can you see my screen? The one that I'm sharing? It's visible. Soumya, once check your data connection, Nana. Because everyone else is saying it's visible. Soumya, please check your data connection once again. Otherwise, maybe rejoin. Okay, yeah, Prithvi is also suggesting you to rejoin. Maybe it's happening. There's some problem with Zoom today. I don't know what's happening. Even I am losing my screen randomly. Something is coming on the screen, but okay. Anyways, so interjection. An interjection is a word added to a sentence to convey an emotion. Okay. So since interjections are not linked grammatically to other words in the sentence from the okay, they'll be separated from the rest of the sentence with a comma. Okay, or you can use an exclamation mark also. For example, I can say hey, stop it. Over here also this hey is an interjection. Or I can say, oh, this is good. You know what? You use interjections on a daily basis in your conversations. For example, if your friend texts you something very stupid, you say, oh, okay, right? So this part is also an interjection. Okay? Now that is kind of the end of our grammar review of all the parts of speech. So let us go for an exercise. Varun Kumar, oh yeah, okay, cool, very good. So let's go for an exercise. Let's see if you can actually get these answers right. Okay. Now, please try to identify the parts of speech of this word highlighted. Okay. And just type in your answers 1 through 8. The time in my watch currently is 4:12. I think you should not be taking more than 2 to 3 minutes for this entire exercise. Mind you, this is a graduate level exercise. That means these are the same kind of sentence correction questions that you'd be getting in your CRTs. Though they won't ask you which part of the speech it is, they'll ask you where is the error. Okay, so Harshita has finished, huh? Okay, a lot of you have finished. Surya, Manisha is done, Anusha is done, Meher is done, Prasanna Kumar is done. Good, fine. Okay, should we see the answers? Should we discuss these answers? See, at least all of you have written it down in your own pages, right? So here we go. Look, when I say it was a good catch, over here, this catch is definitely going to be a noun. See, how do you identify it? My first rule is always catch the neck of verb. Okay, this is my basic rule. Catch the neck of the verb and ask it different questions. It'll tell you all the answers you want to know. Okay, so here the verb is was. Now I am going to ask what was. It was. Now what is this it? This it is a pronoun, no? So what is this it referring to? It's referring to a catch. Now what can a pronoun refer to? It can only refer to a noun, correct? So this is going to be a noun. Are you able to understand how to identify what it is? Now look, second sentence, cats catch mice. This catch is definitely a verb because it's an action. Yes. Next one, my friend has a gold watch. Has is a verb. So who has? My friend. What does he have? He has a watch. What kind of watch? Gold. No, Pavan, కాదు అదే అదే చెప్తున్నా. See, if I'm asking who has friend, what does he have? Watch. So can I say this is a noun and this is also a noun? Now if I ask what kind of watch, this is going to become a qualitative adjective, no? It's showing some quality, no? So that's why it's an adjective, Pavan. Am I clear now? Pavan, are you able to hear me? Sir, what does he have? Answer will obviously be a gold watch, right? Okay, why should it not be a silver watch? Why should it not be a bronze watch? But what is common? That object is watch kada. అంటే నీకు వాచ్ మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చరర్స్ సార్ నేను ఇవాళ గోల్డ్ వాచ్ తయారు చేశానని చెప్పరు కదా, నేను వాచ్ తయారు చేశాను అది గోల్డ్ లో అది గోల్డ్ తో తయారు చేశానని చెప్తారు కదా. ఏం పవన్? అవునా కాదా? Pawan, did you attend my class yesterday, Pawan? Okay, cool. So once again refer to adjectives, the 5 different types of adjectives. You will get a better clarity on this. Okay. All right. Fine. So is this video recording? See, I'm trying to record it every day, but the problem is it's not getting converted. So the video is staying into a Zoom format, but it's not getting converted into the MP4 for me. It's coming double tap to convert, and when I'm double tapping, it's just going away. And I'm not really bad with technology, but this is really freaking out. So yeah. But I think Girish sir is recording the videos every day and sending you the links, no? Yeah, Kasi Reddy, I understand it's sad. Even I have a bachelor's in technology only, just like you. So yeah. Anyways, let me just clear this part and go forward with the other questions. Now, fourth question. Is the ring made of real gold? Over here, what is our verb? Made. Okay, what is made? Ring. What is it made of? Gold. What kind of gold? Real. So real is adjective, but gold is noun. To be very honest, it's the object. Okay. Next, most people think so. What kind of people are how right? So this part becomes an adjective. So how much does it annoy? Or how many times does it annoy? Most of the times, right? So this most becomes an adverb. Okay. Wait, someone is saying most can be uncountable noun in number 5. How? How? Uh, um, Sanjusha, can you please tell me how most can be an uncountable noun in number 5? It's okay, you just type it down. We still have 2 more questions to go now. By then, you just type it down. We'll have a good discussion on that. Okay. See, it's always fun to discuss grammar. I don't know why it's fun. Usually, people don't think it's fun to discuss grammar, but I enjoy discussing grammar because usually 90% of times I'm right, and the other 10% of times I'm learning something new. So to me, it's fun. Anyways, Sanjusha, please type in your answer. Okay. So many, few, most are all used as uncountable nouns, sir. When? How? No. Okay, so if I'm saying many people are standing outside your building, who is standing outside your building? Okay, fine. Let's take your example. Few drops of water. Uh, Drops, right? Drops is noun, right? Yeah, yeah. Many stars, fine. Star is the object, right? Correct or no? How many stars? Many stars, no? Drop is the object, right? How many drops? Few drops, no? So these are all going to be qualitative adjectives, right? Most of the stars shine. So in this sentence, most of the stars shine. Now shine is going to be an verb. What shines? Stars. How many of the stars? Most of them. So most is going to be again an yeah, it is uncountable. I'm not saying that it's countable, but it's an adjective. It's not a noun. Did you say uncountable noun or uncountable? Yeah, you said uncountable noun, Nana. Andukku nenu adiganu. Yeah, most is uncountable. Definitely it's uncountable, but it's not going to be a noun, Nana. Okay? Yeah, okay, all right. Next one. One should learn to fight against the evil forces. Okay, whom should I fight? Evil forces or forces who are evil? So again, I can say people should fight forces. What kind of forces? Evil forces. So forces are going to become noun. Okay. Now I was forced to resign. Now if I'm saying I was forced to do something that's making me do an action, which is a verb. Am I correct? Okay. So how many of you got all of these correct? How many of you scored 8 on 8? Very good, Manisha. Kasi Reddy, how did you get 9 there? Yeah, resign is also going to be a verb. Anjali, you got 6. Which ones did you get wrong? Bindu, you got 7. Which ones did you get wrong? Pawan, in yesterday's class, I said that adjective always refers to one particular noun. Yeah, so, okay, what is wrong in that? Good. Dedipya, you got 8. Sirisha, 7. Soumya, 6. No problem. Can you please tell me in detail about uncountable nouns? Okay. So think about things like sand, stars. Those are uncountable nouns because you cannot count the number of stars. You cannot count sand. You can only count the number of grains in sand. Okay. So think about this. Who asked me this question? Sanjusha, do you go to the milkman in the morning and ask him, milkman, give me 2 milk? Or do you say, milkman, give me 2 packets of milk? You say, give me 2 packets of milk, no? Because you're counting packets, you're not counting milk. So milk is the noun there. In few drops of water, water is the noun, Nana. No, no, Pawan, I'm talking about Sanjusha. Sanjusha has asked me another doubt. Okay, so Venkat Saumya, Hemalata, you guys got 8, good. Kasi Reddy, what happened? Fifth one? What is in the fifth one, Nana? Okay, you got wrong in the fifth one. Okay, that's completely fine. No problem. No, few is not an uncountable noun. Few is an adjective. It's going to be a quantitative adjective, which people, because this is telling me something about a noun becoming a adjective. Now see, it was a good catch. Now what is was is my verb, no Nana? What was it? Now what is this it? This it is Catch only, no? So because this is a pronoun, it should be telling me about a noun. That means catch is a noun, no? Yes, PK? Uh, Kasi ready, okay, fine. Let us say, give me milk. If I say give me milk, how much milk will you give me? You can't count it, no? So that milk is going to be a uncountable noun, Anna. Okay? Now look at sixth question. What most annoys me is his stubbornness. All right? Now, when I'm saying annoys, okay, the subject of the sentence, wait, let me just clear all the ink on my screen. Okay. Sixth one you got wrong, or are you telling me that I am wrong in the sixth one? Anjali, are you telling me I am wrong, or are you telling me that you got it wrong? Oh, okay, you got it wrong. That's fine because I'm pretty sure I solved all this yesterday and I'm giving it to you. But anyway, so see, when I'm saying what most annoys me, this annoys is going to be the verb. Yes. Now, when I say annoys, whom is it annoying? Me. So I am going to be a noun. What about him is annoying me? His stubbornness. So this is going to be an adjective. How much or when all does it annoy me? Most, no? So it is telling me something about an adjective, no? Anything that tells me something about an adjective becomes an adverb, correct? So that's why it's going to be an adverb. Now, Sirisha, you're asking me about the fifth one. Okay. So, Sirisha, this is the fourth or fifth time I'm repeating the fifth one. Please pay a little more attention. I'll explain it to you for this time. Okay. So, see, when I'm saying most people think so, can I say that people is a noun? Okay. Let me not directly assume that. Let me again tell you think is a verb. Who thinks? People think, so people becomes a noun. Yes. How many people think so? Most people think so. That means most is telling me something about a noun. Anything that tells me something about a noun is an adjective. Is that clear? So now are we clear with all of these? Sir, eighth one. I was forced to resign. Okay. So now this is going to be complicated because it's a phrase. Okay. Now in this part of the phrase, what were you forced to do? You were forced to resign, or who was I? What was forced to resign, right? So this entire part, forced to resign, becomes a verb. So in that, force should also be a verb only. No, force should not be an adverb for one very simple reason. Well, because unfortunately the time is almost getting over today, so I'm not able to tell you about these. But it comes to be this part, Nana. Okay, there are three types of verbs. The third type of the verb is called as an infinitive. Infinitive forms are to plus a verb. Okay, I'll just give you a small example. Okay, let me just give you a small example before I end this class. Have you ever heard people say, I want to really eat a pizza? Have you ever heard people say that? Yes, that's absolutely wrong. Okay, when you say, I want to really eat a pizza, that's wrong. Because what do you want to do? You want to eat. No? And how do you want to eat? You really want to eat. So the right way will be to keep really before the to plus verb, so that the entire part kind of becomes a verb. Okay. So over here, this part, forced to resign, forced will be a verb only. Okay. Anyways, this is all that we can do in this class. Yeah, I really want to eat the pizza. That's the right way of saying it. Wait, after lunch, let's go out for a coffee. In this example, after refers to which part of speech? It's a conjunction, no? It's going to be a conjunction because it's joining two parts of your sentences, you having lunch and you going out for coffee. I feel like eat pizza is wrong. I feel like eating pizza. Preferably eating a pizza or eating two pizzas, or if you're like me, eating zero pizzas, but whatever. Nana.
So is it like 18 comes first or beautiful comes first? What is the order in that, sir?
So depends on what you want to emphasize. Okay, if you're saying that she's a beautiful girl of 18 years, then you are trying to emphasize her on her beauty. But if you're trying to say she's an 18-year-old beautiful girl, you're trying to emphasize her age. Okay,
No,
so depends on,
if there is no
yeah.
priority like that, I just want to describe, and then what will it take it away?
So it's always better to say that she's a beautiful girl of 18 years old.
Okay.
Okay, all right, cool. No problem. So that's all for today in that case. Now, this part I'll continue after your resumes are done. Okay, it's a very small part. And there's another part in grammar that you'll be learning with me that's known as the subject verb agreement. Once you finish subject verb agreement, you've finished 90% of grammar, parts of speech, and subject verb agreement. Okay, so once we are done with the resume session tomorrow, maybe I don't know yet. Okay, so once I get the schedule, I will let you know when the resume session is. If tomorrow we have a resume session, I'll be teaching you two types of resumes and I'll be showing you a few models of it. In case we have a grammar class tomorrow, then so Kasi Reddy, don't worry. Girish will be sending you all the videos. Okay. But yeah, anyways, as I was saying, in case there's a grammar class tomorrow, I'll start with the verbals and then I'll go into subject verb agreement. Okay. All right, guys. That's all for today. Take care. Have a good day. Bye. Will you send those resume formats? See, there's absolutely nothing for me to send you. It's all available on the internet. It's all available on Google. But sure, when I show you, you can like just take a screenshot or I'll upload the PDF anyway. So I think you'll have them with you. Okay? Yeah. All right. Tada.